Ciao e bentornati, welcome back to Pillole D'Italiano. L'episodio di oggi, episodio numero 148, sarà il primissimo e spero anche l'ultimo in cui mi sentirete dire delle parolacce che io di solito non dico. So today, for the very first and hopefully last time, you will hear me cuss. And not because I'm angry or mad at anyone, I'm doing it for you guys. I care about you. I don't want you to feel embarrassed or get into saying things that you're not trying to say by mistake. So let me help you out, get you out of those embarrassing moments where, for a reason or another, you might end up cussing or using sexual slang that you're not even aware of. I guess today's episodes belong to that ongoing series of mistakes to avoid and gaffes to avoid, or how to avoid gaffes. And I already released a few of these episodes. If you missed them, you're going to find the link above my head. You can click to watch them, go watch them. But I never really touched on these type of words that belong to a different category, let's say. And unfortunately, within the last couple of days, I had multiple clients stumble and fall on these. So here I am sharing some of these most common mistakes that can be made for two main reasons. There are these words where you might not know if they're masculine or feminine, and when in doubt, you might be choosing the wrong gender, and that will lead to saying the wrong thing. There are also words that might be mispronounced. When it comes to the first category, tied to gender, you guys might not know if one word is masculine or feminine, especially if your native language does not have that distinction like English. What happens with the word roof? Roof. The word for roof is masculine, is il tetto. Il tetto. If you say otherwise, and from tetto you go to tetta, you're talking about a tit. Something different, for sure. So I had a client today that very cutely said, I'm sorry for him. He's having some issues with his roof. And he said that they were repairing the roof, but he actually said that they were fixing a tit. We laughed about it. It wasn't a big deal. Some other mistakes might be a bit worse than this, but this is the opener for today. So il tetto is the roof and la tetta is something else. In the same category, we do have two words that are very, very similar to slang words that we use for female genitalia. So if you love figs and you enjoy eating that fruit, you better make sure that you say it in the masculine form, il fico. Il fico. Because the feminine version, as I mentioned, is something else. The same distinction applies to another food, which is masculine, when it's the thing that you're supposed to be eating, is gnocco, maschile, lo gnocco, is what you eat. But if you say it in the feminine version, la gnocca is like the feminine version of the fig, if you catch my drift. When it comes to feet and footwear, technically we have a word in the masculine form is the word that you want to probably say, zoccolo, or plural, zoccoli. Those, actually that word has two meanings. So zoccoli, those could be the clogs that you wear on your feet. They could also indicate the hooves for horses or cows, or I don't know what other animal has hooves, I guess. Pigs maybe? Do they? Donkeys for sure. Anyway, so to indicate that body part or that type of footwear, you need to use the masculine form. If you use the feminine, zoccola, and the plural zoccole, you're talking about a lady of the street, a lady of the night. And also in south of Italy, it's a word used to talk about rats. Just a distinction to keep in mind. All right, now we can come to the second category of words that you might be pronouncing wrong. When it comes to pronunciation, it is essential for us Italians to make the distinction between singular and double consonants, especially for those consonants that you can elongate the sound of, the consonants that are not explosive. What does it mean? An N sound or an M sound you can make longer. You could say or you could say n or n, right? You could continue until you pass out and you ran out of air. So these type of consonants, it's really, really important to make that distinction between a singular consonant and double consonant. And it is particularly important with two words that you might already be aware of. Those are the words anno and penne. Two N's with both of them. Anno, plural, anni is year or years. So when you're saying Happy New Year, Buon anno nuovo, make sure you pronounce those two N's. Buon anno nuovo. Or you're asking somebody, how old are you? Quanti anni hai? Quanti anni hai? Literally, how many years you have. If you do not pronounce the two N's, but you mistakenly only pronounce one, then you will be asking somebody how many buttholes they have. Because anno, with one N, is an anus. What's up with penne? Penne with two N's. That's either the writing instrument in the plural, le penne, that you use for writing, or it could be the pasta shape. So if you love that pasta shape, you would say mi piacciono le penne. Two N's, le penne. Because with one N, you're either saying, and it's not necessarily a big deal, le pene with one N, which is the pains, not as in aches and pains, but more like the pains of your soul, something that weighs you down. Le pene dell'inferno, that's what comes to mind, like the pains in hell. But if you then also make it masculine, il pene with one N, that's penis. So there is a big distinction if you like to eat pasta or something else. E per concludere in bellezza, we're going to close today's episode with one word that you might find yourself using quite often, especially if you're passionate about pizza, different types of pizzas, especially the folded one. We call that calzone. Calzone. There is an L followed by a Z. Calzone. And you gotta make sure you pronounce both of these consonants and you don't just drop one and double the sound of the other. Because if you drop the L and you pronounce the Z as a double Z, then you're left saying cazzone, and that is a big cuss word. You're pretty much saying huge dickhead. Yeah, I guess that's the closest translation. So imagine what would happen if you want to say, look at that pizza shape. Maybe you're saying it with admiration. And instead, you don't pronounce calzone correctly and you say, guarda quel cazzone. Now, people might think that you are talking about a person that you hate for some reason and you're pointing at them and saying, look at that huge dickhead. Okay, so be careful out there. There are all these tricky things. Today we covered the major ones that I could think of. Some of them were inspired, thank you so much, by a couple of my clients. And hopefully you learned something new. Share this video with people that might not know these things, people that are learning Italian, friends and family members, or just for a laugh. If there is anything that you think I left out, maybe based on your own experience of embarrassing mistake that you might have made in the past, don't forget to leave me a comment. Let me know. I might include it in one of the next videos, or we could just have a laugh together. Detto questo, per oggi è tutto. Non vi dimenticate di mettere un bel like a questo video e iscrivetevi al canale se siete nuovi e noi ci vediamo settimana prossima. Ciao, a presto!